to mentor young women. I make it a point to encourage more women to get into this business because, again, diversity is needed in the press. A woman's voice is just as important as a man's voice, and as we all know, women see things differently from men. So it's important that we have both of those, men and women of all races, reporting on what's happening in the world, so we get a diverse view of the news, of what has occurred, so it's balanced. When we have just a male point of view, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with men, but where's the female point of view? We all know when there's a car accident, car A saw it one way, car B saw it another. So I encourage women to be strong in this business. Of course, it is still a male-dominated business, but it's important that we all start to make our mark. When I started at New York One, it was mostly male-dominated, and now my boss is a female, and she is a pioneering female, the first Asian American woman who is the boss of a newsroom nationwide, and I'm very proud to have watched her rise to the top. And so I encourage women not to be intimidated by this business, to get in the business, work hard, and your gifts will make room for you. That's something my mother always says. Your gifts will make room for you, no matter what gender, no matter what race. As for the National Association of Black Journalists, the New York Association of Black Journalists, it's been such a pleasure to be a part of this organization. We just wrapped up an amazing gala where we paid tribute to other African American journalists. And I'll tell you, one thing that's so wonderful about being associated with NYABJ is that you realize black journalists don't feel they get their just due. And when we paraded them on stage and said thank you, and we honor you for your 30 years of service, Dana Tyler. We honor you, Dean Baquet, for being the first black executive editor of the New York Times. You could see a pride and an appreciation. Someone noticed what I did. My people care. You know, it's one thing when everyone makes a big deal about, like with Dean, with being the first African-American head, but it's quite another when the family goes, bravo.
Wow.
And that's so important that we support and uplift our colleagues. The first black managing editor of the Daily News was also present, Robert Moore. Most people don't even know that he's broken barriers in the Daily News. So it is just such a pleasure to be part of an organization because it is important to let people know, keep going, great job, here's your support, here are resources to make sure that the up-and-coming African Americans can get into the business, and just to show support and love, and we all need that. It has been an incredible benefit. It also has a few drawbacks. Let me talk about the drawbacks first. A lot of stories that are outright inaccurate end up on social media and end up being retracted. A lot of people have been killed on social media that are still very much alive. And that, of course, is a big drawback. You know, you have a lot of people who actually don't respect the rules of journalism. I believe fully in citizen journalism, but follow the rules. Get your attribution right. Make sure you double check your sources. Make sure you do your research and so forth, and learn how to write and the art of writing, and present it in a way that's easy to read and digest for the public. And you have a lot of people that aren't following those rules, and we're all suffering because of it, because, you know, you see something on your phone on Twitter and it turns out it's not true. I mean, we're seeing this almost daily. So as someone who's been in the business for a long time, that distresses me. However, there are many benefits. When we do have our information right, it's disseminated quickly on Facebook, on Twitter, and the many other social media platforms. I'm partial to Facebook. I find Twitter somewhat dangerous. A lot of people are getting fired because of tweets. And that's happening because you're writing as you're thinking. And as we know in journalism, that's a very dangerous thing to do, because as you think, sometimes what you think in the bedroom shouldn't be put out in public.
Right.
You have a right to say and think what you please, but you better be careful when you tweet it, because it may be inappropriate. And we're seeing a lot of people lose their jobs, end up being ostracized and so forth, because they thought something quickly, put it on Twitter,
Right.
and it was completely inappropriate. So I keep my tweets for my book tour, really.
Right,
Just
right.
Cheryl is going to be here,
Right.
and that's it. I don't put everything I think. But Facebook is a little safer because I can put pictures of events, like we just had a wonderful tribute for all of our journalists here in New York. And, I'm about to post pictures on Facebook. So I find it safe for that and for stories that have been well researched. And many stories I do here at New York One, I'll post them on Facebook. So I find social media a welcome addition to the mass media.